Hey guys, my name is Coco. I am a musician in Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome to my first ever Makeup and Music Herstory Monday. So, I'm going to talk about women in music, both past and present. I just thought this would be a cool idea. I don't know if you guys know who Bailey Sarian is, but she does true crime videos while she does makeup at the same time, and I think it's so cool and I love it. But I don't want to talk about murder mysteries. I actually want to talk about music. And so I was like, I don't think that there are a lot of people doing what I'm doing right now. So we're going to talk about women in music, you guys. And today, it's my first ever one. I was feeling kind of nervous and lost and like I wasn't sure what I should do because it's the first one, and I was like, I don't want it to suck. And then it occurred to me,
let's start at the very beginning.
So here we are. We're going to go way back in time, you guys. Back to medieval times, actually. So, way back. I should probably put my hair up, huh? Anyways, we're going to go way back, you guys. We're going way back. And we're actually going to talk about one of the first female composers that historians actually have like a good amount of information about. And her name is Hildegard von Bingen. Now, I'm going to start by saying I don't speak German. I'm going to do my best, okay, with all of these names and stuff, but no promises that they will be perfect, okay? So I'll do my best. But no promises. Back to the story. So she was born in the year 1098, which is the medieval times. All right. And she was actually the 10th child in her family, which is insane to me. Since it's medieval times, you guys, it is kind of hard to know the exact date. And there are some discrepancies between different articles I was reading. So everything is around the date that I'm saying. It may not be exactly that date. They just don't know because of how long ago it was. But yeah, she was born in year 1098 in Germany to a family of lower nobility. And at age 8 or 15, once again, I don't know why. I don't know why the gaps are that big. But it was either 8 or 14 or 15. One of those ages. She actually got given to the church. Yeah, so she actually got given to the church. And there are actually a few different speculations as to why that is. I couldn't find a definitive answer. But some people say that it's because she was the 10th child. And at that time, the 10th child of each family was like promised to the church or something. I have a lot of questions about that because like how many people are having 10 children? And like what? Like what why does the church want? Why does the church want those children in the first place? I don't understand. But anyways, so that's one of them. She's the 10th child. Now, on the other hand, you guys, some people thought that her parents gave her to the church because she started having religious visions at the age of 5. Yeah, 5 years old, you guys. Religious visions. I can't. Not only was she an amazing songwriter, she also had visions. So, I don't know. She said, I'm going to read it. So, quote, "Heaven was opened, and a fiery light of exceeding brilliance came and permeated my whole brain and inflamed my whole heart and my whole breast." Apparently, a heavenly voice told her to share her insight to the whole world. And yeah, she did, I guess. In 1141, her abbot agreed to record her visions, and after reviewing them, the Pope blessed what she was doing and actually commanded her to continue writing them. Anyways, that's not why we're here. She was actually sent to a hilltop monastery, and she was there for 40 years with a handful of other women that were also from noble families that had been promised to the church, from my understanding. I guess each woman had like their own little tiny room that they would sometimes refer to as the tomb because they were so isolated. In fact, some say that they only had one window in the monastery, which is kind of nuts to think about. During that time, Jutta, which is the nun that she actually came in with, who then became her mentor, Jutta taught her the Psalter. I think that's how you pronounce it. Psalter. I don't know. Psalter. Anyways, I didn't know what it was either. It's this. I don't know. I'm going to try to put it here. It's this thing. She also taught her how to read Latin and write, some like religious chants, stuff like that. Apparently it was like a real bummer to live there, and I guess life there was pretty rough for the nuns. And no one would really know how rough until Jutta died, and a monk actually wrote about her life. So if you want to hear more about what life was like at that place, you can definitely look that up. There's plenty of information about it. It was also said that Hildegard may have learned simple palm notation from this guy that visited her a lot named Volmar. So that may have been another way that she was learning how to kind of compose music, or at least have an ear for it. It's also said that they were only allowed one meal a day at a certain time of the year, and then 2 meals a day at another. And I can't remember. One of them was winter, and the other one was summer. So like for half of the year, you could have 2 meals, and then on the other half, you had to have one. So I guess Hildegard actually got sick quite a lot, which I guess makes sense considering that, like, she probably wasn't getting enough nutrition. Should I do green because St. Patrick's Day is coming up? Is that this weekend? I feel like it's this weekend. Let's do green. Around 1136, Jutta actually passed away, and so Hildegard was appointed prioress, which means that she went up in the ranks. Because like I said, Jutta was her mentor, so I think that she kind of just took over that position at that point. At that time, that's when she started finally writing her own compositions, which is really cool. Originally, her music was actually just for the nuns to sing as a part of the divine office. Although they think the only musical teaching skills Jutta ever taught her was like singing and how to do those chants and play that instrument, she had grown up hearing the chants of the Roman Mass. And because of that, she actually kind of formed her own sound and her own type of lyrics that a lot of people described as like vibrant, which we'll talk about more in a second. She would create short chants, response sequence, and of course hymns for the church. But eventually, she would actually use her music to describe her visions, which is pretty cool, in my opinion. In fact, it said, quote, that Hildegard composed in pictures and painted with words. Some of Hildegard's most famous works include, I'm going to mess it up so bad, I almost don't want to try. Some of her most famous works are Vitae Mortorum and Liber Divinorum Opera. I don't know. I tried. Her work is even more notable because she was actually one of the few known composers for her time. Hildegard's music was even more notable because at the time, almost nobody was writing their own music and lyrics. And on top of that, not many people were actually signing their names. A lot of composers would just write a nun for anonymous. Something I read that I thought was actually kind of sad was even though she had written so much music, she still never considered herself a composer, which is interesting because according to an article I read, she has more surviving chants than any other composer from the medieval ages, which I thought was insane. So I think that's a pretty cool feat. Over time, Hildegard actually became a respected visionary and leader within the church. Her work included being a Benedict abbess. I have no idea if I said that right. A teacher, a composer, a writer, a healer, philosopher, mystic, and she would found her own monastery. She wrote about botanical and had medicinal texts. But on top of that, she also wrote letters, songs, poems, and arguably the oldest surviving mortality play. So she did it all, you guys. She really did it all. Hildegard actually believed that humans were the center of the universe and that we all held life within us. In Germany, she's known as the founder of scientific natural history. To many around the world, she also represents one of the first examples of feminism. I know you're probably wondering how a nun became an icon for feminists. Well, it was actually because she was the first ever religious figure to speak highly of women. But on top of that, she spoke about things that nobody else ever had, like menstruation, sex, birth, and menopause. Things that nobody had even thought to do that. In fact, her topics were so controversial that a lot of scholars and historians think if she would have been born just 300 years later, people probably would have thought that she was a witch and burned her at the stake, which is disgusting and disturbing. Is it even St. Patrick's Day if you're not wearing glitter? You know, it's even more of a flex, you guys. A lot of her works survived, so we actually know that she corresponded with the Pope, kings, emperors, and provided them with counsel, comfort, and even criticism sometimes. In 1179, Hildegard died at the age of 81, which is insane to me because I can't imagine that the life expectancy was, that high at the time. I feel like 81's pretty impressive considering that, I imagine most people died pretty young at that time. So, good for you, Hildegard. She died at the monastery that she had founded, which was actually right by the monastery where she grew up. Although a lot of people outside of her coven knew that she was a seer and knew her as a religious figure and icon, we don't actually know if she ever had anybody listen to her work that wasn't in the actual monastery with her. We have no idea if anybody other than the nuns actually heard her works at this time. So how did she get so popular? You're wondering, I'm sure. Well, as luck would have it, we sort of rediscovered her work, her compositions. In 1979, a man named Philip Pickett gave the first ever, or what we think was, the first ever English performance of Hildegard's works. And he actually performed 4 different songs that she wrote. Sorry, it's really hard to talk and do eyeliner at the same time. I don't know why. After that, her songs continued to grow in popularity, and in 1983, somebody came out with an album of her works. People would call her songs vivid and sensual, according to a lot of the articles that I read. The coolest part? Her music gained such popularity that you can actually now find hundreds of recordings of her music. So, although people didn't really know her compositions while she was alive, people really appreciate what she's done. And the fact that she was really quite ahead of her time and a nun. Accounts after her lifetime just described an extraordinarily accomplished woman. She was a prophet, a visionary, a feminist, and eventually they actually made her a saint. So, Hildegard von Bingen is a saint, as well as a composer, a feminist, and all of that other stuff. She was a pioneer, a songwriter, a biologist, a feminist, and so much more, you guys. I mean, this woman, what didn't she do? You know? You guys, like, I really could go on about her forever. She accomplished so much in her life, and, you know, during a time where women weren't taken seriously, and she just, like, came in and kicked ass. Like, what didn't she do? You know, and now she's the most well-known composer from medieval times, which is amazing. Anyways, point being, there is so much more that I could talk about, but I gotta end this somewhere. I will put a bunch of links below for you if you want to check out more about Hildegard von Bingen. I think that's how you say it. If I've been saying it wrong this whole video, I'm really sorry. I tried my best. But yeah, come back next week, you guys. I'm going to do another one. I'm not sure who I'm going to talk about yet. So if you have an idea of somebody that I should talk about that you think would be really interesting, yeah, put it in the comments. And I hope that I'll see you next week. Like, subscribe, share, all of that. Oh, I should probably show you my makeup more. Hold on. Please hold. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Like and subscribe. And yeah, let me know who you think I should talk about next. Bye.